I woke up this morning and found a note tucked inside my bedside lampshade. My own handwriting. Do not trust your son, Marcus. Marcus, my son. He's the one who handles everything now. I have vascular dementia. It's the kind where one day I'm sharp solving crosswords in ink, and the next I can't remember if I've locked the front door 4 times or 0. The doctor calls those clear currents and fog banks. And on the clear days I keep finding these little scraps of paper. Notes I've left myself. Warnings. And every single one is about Marcus. So, I started investigating my own son. I found hidden tax documents in his old college backpack, tucked away in the attic. The papers show my late husband's scholarship fund for vocational students is hemorrhaging money. 43 young adults are about to lose the only chance they have at a stable future. And every piece of financial evidence I find has Marcus's name, or his company's name attached to it. But here's the thought that chills me to the bone. What if the fog is winning? What if my failing memory is manufacturing a plot, making me accuse an innocent man, my own son, of this theft? Or what if I'm right, and my only child has been systematically stealing from a fund meant to support the most vulnerable students in the state? Tomorrow I might forget all the numbers, the notes, and the fear. But today I need to know the truth. Even if finding it means destroying the last piece of my family that's left. My name is Eleanor. I am 75 years old and this is my story. Before we continue, please leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and subscribe to the Elder Wisdom channel. We're building a community of people who know that our sharpest chapters can happen when we least expect them. Now back to the story. I got out of bed, but the room decided to stay horizontal for a moment. It happens now. A sudden shift from lying down and the world pitches, forcing me to grab the dresser. The doctor says it's my blood pressure, something tied to the vascular dementia. It's not Alzheimer's. Mine comes with physical stalls and those terrifying gaps where one moment I'm 75, and the next I feel like I'm 20 and lost. I needed my morning pill. I shuffled toward the bathroom. My feet don't lift like they used to. I drag them slightly, a sound that makes me cringe. I used to be a dancer. Now I sound like a heavy sled moving across sandpaper. I opened the cabinet to retrieve the organizer and saw it. The yellow sticky note. Marcus is a liar. Pressed hard onto the mirror right over my reflection. My handwriting. The way I looped the capital M is unmistakable. I took the note, staring at the hard, angry block letters. I didn't remember writing it. I didn't remember placing it there. Marcus is my son. Why would I write that about him? My hand started to tremble. A familiar shake that always precedes the fog. I looked at my pill organizer. Friday. Was it Friday? The box was empty. Had I taken them already? Or was that yesterday? The days run together now, a muddy river of time. The fog, that thick, suffocating sensation in my head, was intensifying. I gripped the edge of the sink, trying to breathe past the panic. The doorbell rang. A loud, insistent chime that made me jump. Hold on. I tried to call out, but the sound lodged in my throat. I left the pills and shuffled back through the bedroom and down the hall. I opened the door. Liam stood there holding 2 travel mugs. "Morning, Grandma," he said, his face breaking into that easy, warm smile. Liam, my grandson, the only one who still makes the trip across town. The relief I felt was physical, like dropping a heavy weight. "Liam, dear, come in." He followed me into the kitchen, placing the mugs on the table. He's 21 now, taller than my late husband, George, ever was. He inherited George's gentle eyes and easygoing manner. "You look pale," he observed immediately. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine," I managed, collapsing into one of the kitchen chairs. "Just one of those mornings." He pushed a mug toward me. Decaf, touch of honey. I remembered. He always remembers. My son Marcus rarely does. "Did you take your pills?" Liam asked, going straight to the medicine cabinet. I don't know." The words tasted dry and embarrassing. "I can't recall if I've done it today." He checked the organizer. "Friday's empty. You're good. You took them." He said it gently, without any hint of judgment. The warmth of the coffee helped, melting the ice around my fear. Liam sat across from me. He was wearing an old, faded university sweatshirt, a gift from his friend who goes to state college. He's studying nonprofit management at the city college. His mother, my daughter-in-law, despises it. She wanted him to pursue finance, something with a guaranteed six-figure income. That thought brought the other worry rushing back. Liam, I said quietly, I found something this morning. In the medicine cabinet. What kind of something? I shuffled back to the bathroom and brought the sticky note back. My hand shook noticeably as I placed the small piece of paper between us on the table. Marcus is a liar. He read it. His easy smile vanished. Grandma, you wrote this. It's my handwriting, yes, but I have no memory of writing it or putting it there. I felt frantic. When do you think I wrote it? Was it yesterday? Last week? I have no idea, I said, the panic making my voice sharp. That is the problem, Liam. I simply do not remember. He turned the note over, examining it. Why wouldn't you trust Dad? I don't know, I whispered, but a cold certainty was settling in my gut. The note meant exactly what it said. I stood up, more deliberately this time, and went to the large credenza in the dining room where I stash all the paperwork I mean to sort. I pulled open the top drawer. Underneath a stack of catering menus, there was another note, this one written on a stiff piece of green ledger paper. Financials. Check the Phoenix House accounts. I held it up for Liam. The Phoenix House? He asked, taking the note. Grandpa George's legacy? The vocational school fund. Yes. The fog cleared slightly, granting me a brief, sharp memory. The Phoenix House. George's pride and joy. He built it 15 years ago. It houses 43 young adults who are aging out of the foster care system, giving them housing and paying for their vocational training. It's their chance to build a life. George died 20 months ago. I told Liam, my voice cracking slightly. A sudden cardiac arrest. I've spent every day since trying to hold on to the memory of him, but even those memories are slipping away. He was a good man, Liam said softly. Marcus runs the fund now, I said, sitting back down. He took over after George died. Yeah. Something in Liam's tone made me look up sharply. You two still strained? Liam's jaw tightened. He thinks I'm wasting my life on nonprofits. He cut me off from the family trust 2 years ago. Said if I wasn't going to pursue a real career, he wasn't going to fund it. I looked at the notes again. Marcus is a liar. Check the Phoenix House accounts. My cell phone buzzed. Marcus's name lit up the screen. I watched it ring 3 times before I picked up. Hello, Marcus, dear. Mom. His voice was clipped and businesslike. I'm coming over around 3 this afternoon. We need to finalize some paperwork. What paperwork? Just some things requiring signatures. I'll explain when I get there. Just be ready. This is important. He hung up before I could object. Liam was watching me. That was Dad. He's coming at 3. Wants me to sign something. Liam frowned. Sign what? He wouldn't say. I looked at the notes, then at the time. Almost 10 o'clock. Liam. I used to be an auditor for the state's fraud department. 30 years. I know what money laundering looks like. We have until 3 o'clock to figure out what past me was investigating and why I left these warnings. We need to go to the Phoenix House, Liam said, jumping up. Get the full financial records. Not just what Dad sends you. Will they let us see them? You are the founder's widow. They have to. And if something is wrong, those 43 kids are the ones who are going to suffer. Okay, I said, standing up. The panic was replaced by the clarity of a mission. But first we need a plan. Let's document what we know. Liam went to the junk drawer, pulled out a notepad and a pen. Write down everything we're doing. That way, if the fog rolls in later, you have the roadmap. I took the pen and started writing, my hand shaking but the words firm. Found notes warning about Marcus. Need to investigate the Phoenix House financials. Liam is helping. Trust him. It felt strange writing instructions for the stranger my brain was becoming. But that stranger needed to be armed. I folded the paper and slipped it into the deep pocket of my cardigan. We need to go soon, Liam said. Before he gets here. We had until 3 o'clock. We had time but not much. Before leaving, I went to the small desk where I keep my old files. Sometimes I print things and forget where they are. Tucked under a stack of expired insurance policies, I found the latest Foundation Bank statement. The Phoenix House Scholarship Fund printed clearly across the top. Numbers in columns. Several of them circled in my agitated red pen. Liam, look. He took the statement. The circled amounts were large. Payments of $13,000 here, $22,000 there. All going out to vendors I didn't recognize. Did you print this? He asked. I must have. And I circled these for a reason. I used to do this for a living. I repeated, feeling the strength of my past career flow into me. I know what money trails look like when someone's trying to hide something. And this looks like that? I don't know yet. But I was paying attention. We need the full scope. We took Liam's car. The drive to the Phoenix House facility was about 20 minutes. I tried to focus, watching the streets blur past, fighting the edges of the fog that threatened to creep back in. The building itself was a converted community center. Solid brick, but clearly needing maintenance. Cracked window seals, faded paint. George had poured his heart and our money into this place. What if I'm wrong? The doubt was a persistent, small voice in my mind. What if I'm just a confused old woman making a huge, catastrophic error? Grandma, we're here. Liam's voice was grounding. Inside, the place felt alive but worn. It smelled faintly of old coffee and industrial cleaner. In the common room, a young woman, maybe 19, was hunched over a laptop, working intently. She glanced up, saw me, and gave a brief, polite smile before returning to her screen. The dining area had 3 young men debating a homework assignment. Normal life. Ordinary, hopeful teenage to adult life. A woman emerged from the main hallway. Mid-50s, sharp silver bob. She saw us, and her composure wavered for a split second. Eleanor, she said, her voice strained. This is unexpected. This was Sylvie, the director. Marcus had hired her soon after George died. I wanted to see the place, I stated, keeping my voice firm and calm. Make sure everything's running smoothly. Of course, everything is perfectly fine. Marcus has been working incredibly hard to manage the financial side. She sounded like she was reading from a script. I need to see the financial records, Sylvie, I said. Bank statements, budget reports, the last 2 years of vendor invoices. All of it. Sylvie blinked, her polite smile freezing. The financial records? I'm not sure that's necessary. Marcus keeps all those proprietary files now. I am the founder's widow, I reminded her, channeling my old, no-nonsense auditor voice. I retain the right to review them. She hesitated, looking at Liam, then back at me. I really should call Marcus first. No, I stepped closer, forcing her gaze to meet mine. I do not need his permission. Show me. The records now. The room went quiet. The student at the laptop was watching us intently. Sylvie relented. Fine. Let me see what I have access to. She led us down the hall to George's old office. It was no longer his. New stark white filing cabinets. She pulled out a thin folder. Inside were only budget summaries and generic expense reports. No detail, no bank activity. This isn't nearly enough, Sylvie. I need the actual vendor invoices. The specific contracts. As I said, Marcus keeps those off-site. I ignored her, moving directly to the filing cabinets myself, starting to pull the drawers open. Mrs. Hayes, please, I really don't think. Don't think, Sylvie. Just let me look. Liam was already documenting the office with his phone, snapping photos of the cabinets, the desk, everything. In one drawer, I found a folder marked Capital Services Contracts. I pulled it out. Inside were dozens of invoices, all approved by Marcus's signature. Horizon Planning Group, Apex Solutions Management, Stellar Future Consulting. Companies I'd never heard of. Invoices for $15,000 here, $10,000 there. My hands began to shake again, but this time from anger, not dementia. What are these services? I demanded. Consultation. Site improvements, Sylvie mumbled, avoiding eye contact. Liam swiftly took the folder, photographing every page. I kept searching and found a thin folder tucked in the back. Property management. Inside was the original lease agreement for the entire community center building. I scanned the dense legal text, my brain momentarily sharp, locking onto the key language. Section 5, subsection B. Lease termination clause. If the rent was 60 days past due, The landlord could terminate the lease with just 45 days written notice. That meant if the money dried up, those 43 students had only a few months total before they were out on the street. Liam, snap a photo of this immediately. The lease termination. Sylvie had her phone out, texting someone frantically. Marcus, no doubt. I didn't care. We had enough. A shy young man, perhaps 18, came down the stairs. He paused when he saw me. Mrs. Hayes. Hello, Leo. How are you? Leo was one of the first students George had helped years ago. Good, ma'am. Just starting a new certification course. That's wonderful. I thought about Leo, about the young woman at the laptop, about the 43 young people whose entire futures were tied to this failing foundation. We need to go, Liam urged quietly. Thank you, Sylvie, I said, my tone flat. Of course, Eleanor. I'll let Marcus know you stopped by. Her face was granite. We left, got back in the car, and drove fast. She's calling him now, Liam said, his voice tense. I know. When Marcus shows up at 3, we have to have what we found hidden. We got home by 1:40. Just over an hour before Marcus was due. We went straight to my bedroom, shoving the folders and the bank statement behind the unused luggage in the back of my closet. We transferred all the photos to a hidden, password-protected folder on my laptop. Okay, Liam said, breathless. What now? The clock read 2:15. My head was starting to ache. The investigative clarity was already fading at the edges. Now, I said, sinking onto the armchair. Now we wait. At 3 o'clock exactly, the doorbell rang, precise like Marcus always is. I answered the door. My son stood on the porch wearing a perfectly tailored suit, holding a slim leather briefcase. He had his father's sharp features but none of his warmth. Mom, he said, giving a quick, dry peck on my cheek. His cologne was expensive, sharp. He walked inside and immediately spotted Liam in the living room. Liam was sitting calmly at the kitchen table, reading a book, but the tension radiating off him was palpable. Liam, I wasn't aware you were here. Marcus's face tightened slightly. Just visiting, Liam replied easily. How charming, Marcus said, making it sound anything but. He sat down stiffly on the couch, placing his briefcase next to him. I sat opposite him in the armchair. Mom, we need to discuss your long-term living situation. He opened his briefcase. My living situation is perfectly adequate, Marcus. No, it isn't. You've had several documented falls, your balance is off, and frankly, your memory issues are becoming a safety concern. He pulled a sleek brochure from his case. I found an excellent memory care facility, the Ashford Estate, 24-hour nursing. They specialize in vascular dementia. I am not going to a facility, I stated, gripping the arms of the chair. This is my home. George and I bought it 30 years ago. Be reasonable, Mom. I am being practical. That's when he saw it. On the coffee table, next to my teacup, was the printed-out bank statement. The one I'd forgotten to clear away in my rush to hide the evidence. It was just one page, but the red circled numbers were glaring. Marcus's whole body went instantly rigid. He leaned forward and picked it up with 2 fingers, as if it were contaminated. What is this? He demanded, his voice low and dangerous. A bank statement, I replied, keeping my voice steady. The foundation's account. I can see that. Why do you have it? Who gave this to you? Did you go to the Phoenix house today? He was furious, his face flushing dark red. Did you badger Sylvie? Mom, you cannot simply show up and demand files. Confuses the staff. It makes my job impossibly harder. Harder for who, Marcus? For everyone. For me. He crumpled the statement tightly in his fist. You are not well. You are clearly confused about the operations. I am not confused about those payments, I countered levelly. Large amounts moving out to companies no one recognizes. Because you don't remember the foundation's operations. That is the dementia talking, Mom. It makes you paranoid. Or because something is wrong. He stood up, shoving the crumpled statement into his briefcase. Nothing is wrong. I am handling the foundation. You need to stop interfering. I am not interfering. I'm asking questions I have every right to ask. Questions I have answered multiple times, but you forget. So we're stuck in this pointless, destructive loop. He pulled more papers from his case, legal documents bearing the court's letterhead. This is exactly why we need the conservatorship hearing, he announced, his voice regaining its professional steel. November 29th, 3 weeks from today. I will be granted legal authority to manage your finances and all medical decisions. My chest constricted painfully. Conservatorship, the legal theft of my freedom. You can't do that, I whispered. I can. Your doctor has filed reports. The court knows about your condition. This is for your protection, Mom, so you don't accidentally hurt yourself or, more importantly, make rash decisions that could harm George's legacy. He placed the documents on the table. Get out, I said. The word was a rasp but sharp. He blinked, genuinely stunned. What? Get out of my house, Marcus. Now. Mom, don't be dramatic. I am not being dramatic. Leave. Liam instantly rose from the kitchen table and moved to stand next to my armchair, his presence a solid, youthful barrier. Marcus looked between us, his mouth a thin, angry line. He snatched his papers, slammed his briefcase shut, and walked toward the door. Fine, he clipped out. But this doesn't change anything. 3 weeks, Mom. And then we are going to have a real, permanent conversation about your future. He left, the door closing with a heavy final sound. I sat there shaking until Liam's hand was on my shoulder. He is the villain, Grandma. We were right. He's trying to silence you. I stood up, focusing on the adrenaline rush that came with danger. I went to the desk, pulling drawers open frantically. What are you looking for? Liam asked. More notes. I always write them when I'm clear. Hide them for later. Behind the desk calendar taped to the back, I found one. On a small pink memo card. He forged docs. Moving funds to his own shell LLCs. I handed it to Liam. Add these to the evidence. We have 3 weeks until the hearing. We have to prove his guilt before he legally locks me away and buries the evidence. Liam looked at the evidence in his hand, his eyes shining with newfound purpose. We'll figure it out, Grandma. I promise. That night was rough. Around 8, the room spun while I was crossing the living room, and I went down hard. Liam caught me before I hit the floor completely. Later, I woke up convinced I saw George standing in the hallway, looking disappointed, before the shadow resolved into the coat rack. Around 3 in the morning, I was confused and lost in my own house, until Liam came, held my hand, and gently talked me back to the present. I wasn't safe. My mind was betraying me, and hidden behind the coats was evidence I might not remember finding tomorrow. I just had to hold on for 3 more weeks. Morning came too soon. I woke up disoriented, the ceiling unfamiliar, the light from the window wrong. Everything felt tilted and uncertain. I heard voices. Someone was in the house. Panic clawed at my throat. I tried to remember. Where was I? The door opened. A young man stood there, tall, dark hair, that easy, familiar smile. Grandma? Are you okay? Liam. My grandson. The pieces clicked into place slowly. My house. He'd stayed the night because I'd fallen. I'm fine, I said, my voice rough. Just took me a minute to surface. He helped me sit up and brought my coffee and pills. I took them without thinking, just following the routine. Do you remember yesterday? He asked gently. Some of it. The Phoenix house, Marcus, the papers he wanted me to sign. It's hazy though, like watching a movie through dirty glass. Come on. I want to show you something. He led me to my closet, pushed aside the garment bags and winter coats. The back wall was covered. Papers, documents taped up. Notes in my handwriting, string connecting them. A whole mad map of an investigation I had no recollection of building. I stepped closer, studying the conspiracy board. Bank statements with the large circled payments. Invoices for the shell companies. The note about Marcus being a liar. I did this. I asked. Yesterday after Dad left. We found more notes you'd hidden, and we organized everything. You directed it all. I studied the wall. It was precise, thorough. The work of the old forensic auditor I used to be. But the memory of making it was gone. Walk me through it, I commanded. Tell me what we found. Liam pointed to the bank statements. See these large outflows? Every month the money goes to the same 3 companies, Horizon, Apex, Stellar. The ones on the invoices we photographed yesterday. Do we know what they are? The registrar confirmed they are all newly created LLCs, all approved by Dad's signature. They look like consulting firms, but they're likely just fronts for moving money out. I looked at the pattern, the amounts accumulating over the past year. Someone was systematically bleeding the foundation dry. If he's stealing, I said slowly, tracing the string that connected an invoice to the lease termination clause, what happens to the kids? Liam's face was grave. That's the worst part, Grandma. The lease has the termination clause. If the rent is 60 days late, they get 45 days notice to vacate. 43 students suddenly homeless. I thought about Leo, about the young woman working on her laptop. 43 vulnerable young people about to be kicked out. Where would they go? Group homes, probably. Overcrowded facilities. Or they'd lose their training and get shuffled back into the system. Unsupported. Most of them are close to aging out entirely. This is their last chance at stability. The weight of it settled heavily over me. This wasn't just about my money or Marcus's betrayal. It was about human lives. We need to know how bad it is, I said. The exact numbers. The bank. Yeah. Let's go. My mind felt clearer this morning than it had last night. The fog was still lurking, but it felt manageable. We drove to the downtown branch of the main bank. The manager, a kind woman named Ms. Albright, recognized me immediately. She had handled our personal accounts for decades. Mrs. Hayes, how can I help you today? I need the complete account records for the Phoenix House Scholarship Fund, going back 3 years. She hesitated slightly. Your son is the primary authorized signatory now. I am the founder's widow and an original signatory. I have a right to see them. I held her gaze. Of course. Give me a few minutes. We waited in her office. Liam fidgeted with his phone, ready to document everything. Ms. Albright returned with a very thick folder. Everything you requested. I opened it. The muscle memory of forensic auditing kicked in. I started tracking the statements, following the paper trail. The pattern Marcus created was both sophisticated and brazen. Withdrawals, transfers, money moving out in careful layers. Look at this, I said to Liam, pointing to a statement from 10 months ago. The foundation balance was $100,000. That's a healthy balance. I flipped to the most recent statement. The current balance was $14,000. That's enough for maybe 2 months of operational costs, I stated flatly. If they're lucky. I kept reading, discovering records of new, small, limited liability companies, the same ones on the invoices, all created just after George died. He set these up, I whispered. The money is flowing directly to them. Liam photographed every single page. I studied the totals until my eyes burned. He's draining it. Systematically. In 2 months there will be nothing left. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Mom, the conservatorship hearing is in 3 weeks. Please don't fight this. It's for the best. I showed Liam the text. If he gets conservatorship, Liam said quietly, he controls everything. Your money, your legal standing to fight him, your ability to investigate. He buries the evidence, and those 43 kids lose their home. We sat there, surrounded by the physical evidence of his betrayal. 75 years old with a failing brain, about to be legally neutralized by my only son. What do we do? Liam asked. We have to prove it before the hearing. Before he shuts us down. We thanked Ms. Albright and drove home in silence. Back at the house, I went straight to the closet. I stood in front of the evidence wall, trying to burn it into my mind so I might remember it tomorrow. That's when I saw it. Tucked behind an old scarf, a note I hadn't seen yet. If you're reading this during a bad day, trust what you wrote during good days. Marcus is destroying everything. I held the note, looking at my own panicked handwriting. Clear-minded me was trying desperately to help confused me. But the numbers didn't lie. $14,000 left. 2 months before 43 kids were on the street. I pinned the final note to the wall. We're running out of time, I said. I know, Liam replied. And I'm running out of clear days. The next few days blurred into an anxious montage. Clear hours mixed with profound confusion. I'd review the evidence wall in the morning, feeling sharp and purposeful, only to be lost by late afternoon. forgetting what the string lines meant or why my closet was covered in papers. Liam stayed close, patiently re-explaining the financial pattern whenever the fog descended. We had 2 weeks until the conservatorship hearing. The doorbell rang on a Tuesday morning. I was in the kitchen trying to find the tea bags. Liam was at his college classes. I answered the door. Marcus stood there with a man I didn't recognize, mid-50s, carrying a small medical bag. "Mom, this is Dr. Chandler. He's here for your checkup." I hadn't scheduled a checkup, but Marcus was already leading the doctor inside, gesturing toward the living room with the authority of someone who owned the place. "Please sit down, Mrs. Hayes," the doctor said calmly. I sat. Marcus settled on the couch opposite me, his hands folded neatly in his lap. The perfect concerned son. "This is just a routine cognitive evaluation," Dr. Chandler explained. "A few questions. Answer as best you can." It wasn't routine. This was the conservatorship evaluation, the evidence Marcus would submit to the court to prove I was unfit. "Can you tell me today's date?" he asked. I strained to retrieve it. Tuesday. But the number? The month? I was grasping at air. "Tuesday," I repeated weakly. "And the full date?" My mind went blank. I'm not certain." He wrote something down. "That's fine. Can you tell me where you are right now?" "My house." "And your address?" I'd lived here for 33 years. I could see the street sign in my mind, the blue mailbox, but the numbers, the simple street numbers, vanished just beyond my reach. "I forget the number," I confessed, humiliation washing over me. More writing. "Can you tell me what you had for breakfast?" Breakfast? Had I eaten? I looked at the coffee machine. Liam had started the pot, but had I actually put food in my mouth? I don't remember. Marcus's face remained neutral, yet I sensed a flicker of satisfaction in his eyes. "Do you take medication?" the doctor continued. "Yes." "Can you name them for me?" I managed the blood pressure pill and the specific dementia drug, but the rest, the generics, the supplements, they were gone. "I can't pull up the names," I admitted. "Do you drive?" "No." "Why not?" "I am not safe to drive anymore." He nodded, writing more notes. "Have you had any recent falls?" I thought about hitting the floor the other night, the pain, Liam catching me. "Yes. A few." "Do you feel safe living alone, Mrs. Hayes?" "I'm not alone. My grandson visits." "But he doesn't live here." "No." Every answer I gave felt like an arrow shooting my own defense down. Every admission of forgetfulness was proof that Marcus was right. "One last question, Mrs. Hayes. Do you understand why your son is seeking conservatorship?" I looked at Marcus, then at the doctor. Marcus was waiting, expectant. "He says it's for my protection," I said, my voice heavy. "Do you believe that?" I wanted to scream the truth. "He's stealing from 43 students. This is about silencing me." But I knew the words would only sound like paranoid accusations from a confused old woman. "I don't know what to believe," I finally said. He closed his notebook. "Thank you, Mrs. Hayes. That's all I need." Marcus walked him to the door. I heard fragments. "Rapid decline. Safety concerns. Appropriate placement." Then they were gone. I sat there shaking. The evaluation had lasted 20 minutes, and I had failed everything. I went to my closet, opened the door, and stared at the evidence wall. The notes, the invoices, the frantic string map. But on a bad day like this, it looked utterly insane. The ravings of someone losing her mind. I heard the front door open. "Grandma? You okay?" Liam found me sitting on the floor of the closet. "The doctor came," I whispered. "The evaluation. I failed everything. I couldn't answer the date. I couldn't remember my address. They're right. I'm confused." "You're having a bad day," Liam insisted, kneeling beside me. "That doesn't mean you're wrong about Dad." "But what if I am? What if I'm just paranoid?" "You're not." He pulled out his phone. "I went to the foundation during my break." He showed me a photo. The front door of the Phoenix house. Taped to the glass was a document. The heading was stark. "Notice of lease termination. Failure to pay rent. They're being evicted." I breathed. "Yeah. 45 days to vacate the premises." The staff was panicked. The students heard. They were asking where they'd go. He scrolled to another picture. Leo sitting on the steps, head in his hands. Dad's doing this. The evidence is real, Grandma. You are not imagining it. The fog in my head receded, driven back by a surge of pure, cold fury. 45 days, I said. We have to stop him now. How? I stood up, anger lending me a stability I hadn't felt all week. We confront him. We show him the evidence. We tell him we know everything, and he needs to fix it immediately. He'll just say you're confused, based on that doctor's report. Not if we threaten to go to the police, to the student support agencies, to the media. Liam studied me, his eyes widening. You think he'll listen? He has to. If he doesn't, we report him, even if he's my son. We spent the afternoon organizing our evidence, making copies, ensuring everything was documented and dated. Liam called the Vocational Fund's Social Services Coordinator, explaining there were serious financial issues, and asked if she could attend a meeting. She agreed immediately, anything involving student welfare. Then I called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Mom, I don't have time for this. I need to see you tomorrow, Marcus. At noon. I know what you've been doing. We have evidence, and you need to come explain yourself. Silence. Then his voice, tight and dangerous. Evidence of what exactly? The embezzlement. The shell companies. All of it. You have no idea what you're talking about. This is exactly the delusion that makes the conservatorship necessary. Tomorrow. Noon. If you don't come, we're going to the authorities. A long pause. When he spoke again, his control was frayed. Fine. Noon. But when I prove you're wrong, we are done discussing this. You are going into care whether you like it or not. He hung up. I looked at Liam. Tomorrow, I said. He's coming tomorrow. Are you ready? My brain was failing. My memory was a sieve. But 43 kids had 45 days left. I have to be. The night before the confrontation, I went through everything again. I read every one of my notes, studied every invoice, ensuring the clear-headed me understood the map. Liam helped, patient and kind, never making me feel foolish when I forgot a detail he just explained. He's going to defend himself, I said. He'll have explanations. Then we keep pushing, Liam replied. We show him the eviction notice. We ask him why the foundation is bankrupt if he's managing it so well. A nagging feeling persisted. Marcus's voice on the phone. The exhaustion, the barely controlled anger. It didn't sound like a man who was getting away with a clean crime. It sounded like someone carrying a terrible burden. I thought about the sheer, fierce determination in his eyes when he talked about the conservatorship, insisting it was for my protection. But I looked at the evidence wall one last time. $100,000 down to $14,000. The 43 kids. The numbers were undeniable. Tomorrow we would get the answers one way or another. The next morning I woke up with my mind sharp. A perfect clear current. Felt like a gift. I went to the closet, studied the evidence wall, reviewing the proof. The invoices, the bank statements, the pattern of Marcus draining the fund dry. Today we'd confront him. Liam arrived early, brought coffee, and helped me review everything. You remember the plan? He asked. Yes. Show the evidence. Accuse him of embezzlement. Give him a chance to explain, and if he can't, we call the authorities. At noon exactly, the doorbell rang. I opened it. Marcus stood there in a crisp, dark suit. He was carrying a heavy canvas tote bag, not his usual leather briefcase. His expression was controlled, even. Mom, come in. He followed me inside, stopping abruptly when he saw Liam at the kitchen table, with our entire collection of papers and photographs spread out between us. He stared at the damning arrangement, but his face remained expressionless. Sit down, Marcus, I instructed. He sat, placing the canvas bag carefully beside his chair, folding his hands on the table. I laid out the key evidence. The invoices to the shell companies, the bank statements showing the fund balance dropping to $14,000, the LLC registrations in his name, and the final shocking piece, the bright orange eviction notice. We know what you've been doing, I said, my voice steady, betraying none of the internal shaking. You're embezzling from the Phoenix house. You created those companies to pay yourself, and now 43 young adults are being evicted because you've bled the accounts dry. His jaw clenched. That is a severe accusation, Mom. It's not an accusation. It's a fact. These companies, I pointed to the invoices, you created them. Money flows to them every month. Those are legitimate services. Liam leaned forward. Legitimate? We went to the bank. $100,000 down to $14,000 in 20 months. While you set up those LLCs in your name, you have no idea what you're talking about. We have proof, Marcus, I asserted. The bank records, the LLC registrations, all of it. Marcus stood up abruptly. This is precisely what I warned you about. You are confused. You are making connections that aren't there. This is the delusion of your dementia, Mom. I am not confused about the eviction notice. Liam slammed his hand on the table. The one posted on the front door. 43 students are losing their home. Are you stealing their rent money? Something in Marcus's eyes shifted. A crack appeared in his composure. I haven't stolen anything, he spat out. Then explain the LLCs. Explain the payments. Explain why the foundation is bankrupt. I don't owe you an explanation. Yes, you do. Because if you don't, we're calling the police right now. We're calling the social workers. We're telling them everything. Marcus was shouting now, his face twisting with a mixture of rage and desperation. You're going to destroy everything. Do you understand that? You are going to ruin all of us. You already destroyed it. I yelled back. No. His voice broke ragged. I've been trying to save it. While you've been playing detective with your pathetic conspiracy wall, I've been doing the actual work of cleaning up a mess you don't even know about. The room fell into a stunned silence. What do you mean? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Marcus took a deep, shuddering breath, regaining a fraction of control. You want proof? You want to know what really happened? Fine. He grabbed his canvas bag. But once I show you, you can't unknow it. And you are going to wish you just trusted me and left it alone. Show us, I said, heart pounding. Dad's old woodworking studio in the basement. That's where the real evidence is. We went through the kitchen and down the narrow, dusty stairs to the basement. George had converted half of it into a workroom years ago. Marcus pulled a key from his pocket and unlocked the door. Inside, the air was stale, smelling of sawdust and old paper. The walls were lined with shelving units and a large workbench covered in folders. Marcus walked straight to the workbench and opened a hidden compartment underneath. After Dad died, I came here to clear out his foundation files. I found things he'd been hiding for years. He pulled out a thick, legal-size folder and dropped it onto the bench. Look at these. I opened the folder. Betting slips. Dozens of receipts from online sports betting and offshore casinos. They went back nearly 4 years. Thousands of dollars lost, then won, then lost again. Dad had a gambling addiction, Marcus said, his voice flat with pain. It started when the foundation hit its first rough patch 5 years ago. He thought he could win enough to fix it. I kept turning pages. More slips, letters from debt collection agencies, credit card statements I'd never seen before with colossal cash advances. He opened secret accounts, Marcus continued, staring straight ahead. He mortgaged the building. He lost it all. Liam was reading over my shoulder. How much? Over $300,000. Maybe more. I'm still uncovering accounts. I shook my head violently. No. George wouldn't. He was the Phoenix House. He was the most honorable man I ever knew. There's more. Marcus pulled out a second folder. Inside were business registration documents for the exact shell companies we'd seen on the invoices. Horizon, Apex, Stellar. The ones we thought Marcus had created. He created these, Marcus whispered. Fake companies. He used them to pull money out of the foundation, layer the transactions, and cover the gambling losses. I stared at the documents, at George's signature on the filings. His familiar, confident handwriting. That's not possible, I gasped. It is. Marcus's voice broke again. And when the debts got too big, when the collectors started calling here, he did this. He pulled a single folded piece of paper from his canvas bag. It was yellowed and fragile. He handed it to me. I unfolded it. George's handwriting. Shaky, rushed. Eleanor, I'm sorry. I can't face what I've done. The money is gone. The debts are too big. They will come after your house, the foundation, everything. I thought I could fix it. I was wrong. Tell Liam I loved him. Tell you I'm sorry. This is the only way out. The words swam before my eyes. I reread them. He killed himself, I articulated, the sound catching in my throat. Yes, Marcus confirmed, tears finally flowing down his face. The heart attack was a lie. I found him. Found this note beside him. I called the paramedics and told them it was a cardiac event. I couldn't let everyone know he'd killed himself, that he'd destroyed his own foundation and run away from it. The paper fluttered from my hands. 40 years. 40 years with a man who had lied, gambled, embezzled, and taken the coward's exit. The LLCs, Liam said, his voice numb. The ones you supposedly created. I made new ones after he died. When I found his debts. I've been fighting off creditors, negotiating, consolidating, trying to pay back what he stole. But the Phoenix house is bankrupt, I said, stating the obvious horror. I know. I've been trying, Mom, but there was too much debt. Too many creditors closing in. I couldn't save it all. He wiped his face with a trembling hand. And the conservatorship? I asked, finally understanding the scope of his sacrifice. The creditors can come after you personally. Your house, your savings, everything we built together. If I have conservatorship, I can create a legal trust. I can put your assets into a safe zone they can't touch. I've been trying to save you from his mess. I stood there, surrounded by the physical evidence of George's lies. The gambling receipts. The suicide note. I thought you were the villain, I whispered. I know, Marcus replied, wrecked. I knew you did. And I couldn't tell you the truth because you just forget, and we'd be right back here with you thinking I was stealing, when I've been trying to salvage anything I can. That's why you were so angry about my major, Liam said, the final puzzle piece clicking into place. Social work doesn't pay enough. You thought I'd end up like Grandpa, broke, desperate, chasing money. Marcus nodded, devastated. I watched him destroy everything, Liam. I couldn't watch you struggle too. I wanted you to have stability, security, things he never gave us. I sat heavily in George's old desk chair, the chair of the man who never existed. I'm sorry, I managed, my voice breaking. Marcus, I'm so sorry I accused you. It's okay, he said, but it wasn't. I stood up, walked to my son, and put my arms around him. He crumpled against me, sobbing, releasing the 20 months of stress, secrecy, and fighting he had carried alone. I've got you, I said, clutching him tightly, even though I knew my own grasp on reality was tenuous. We were wrong about everything, but we were finally together. We went back upstairs, sitting in the living room, surrounded by the physical evidence of George's deceit. My mind remained clear, thankfully. I needed to hold on to this lucidity for as long as I could. Liam sat on the couch, looking utterly lost, the shock of his grandfather's betrayal still heavy on him. I don't understand, Liam repeated, shaking his head. Grandpa started the Phoenix house. He loved those students. He did at first, Marcus said, his voice raw but controlled. But when the money got tight and the gambling started, he thought he could fix it. He thought he could win enough to put the money back. It just made everything worse. So everything I thought about him was a lie? I asked, feeling the years of our marriage crumble. Not everything, Marcus said softly. He did love us. He loved you. He was just broken, Mom. And he didn't know how to ask for help. Tell us the numbers, I instructed Marcus, cutting through the grief. All of it. I need to know exactly what we're dealing with. Marcus pulled spreadsheets from his canvas bag. The records he'd been hiding. Dad left $375,000 in total debts. Gambling, secret credit cards, personal loans from loan sharks who were starting to pressure him. That's what pushed him over the edge. The number was a crushing weight. Over the last 20 months, Marcus continued, his finger tracing a column, I've paid off $200,000. I used my savings, my retirement, every bonus I've earned since I took over the family business. I tried to save his reputation. I tried to save the foundation. You bankrupted yourself, I realized. I tried to fix what he broke, but there's still $175,000 left, plus the back rent on the building. The eviction is final in 45 days. Liam leaned forward, his voice fierce. What are the options? We have to save those 43 students. Marcus shook his head grimly. We can't sell the building. George already mortgaged it. We can't launch a public fundraiser. The minute George's embezzlement is revealed, donors will disappear. People don't donate to scandals. Then we don't protect his reputation, I said, the words hurting but feeling utterly true. We do whatever it takes to keep those students safe and housed. I don't care what it costs George's legacy. They both looked at me stunned. I focused on the house George and I had built our lives in. The house Marcus wanted to protect with the conservatorship. I'll sell the house, I announced. The equity George and I built up is substantial. We will use that money to pay the remaining debts, cover the back rent. Whatever is left goes to stabilizing the foundation. Mom, no. Marcus's voice was sharp, fierce. This is your home. You can't sacrifice everything for his mistakes. It's a house, Marcus. Those 43 students need stability more than I need 4 bedrooms and a yard I can't maintain anymore. I'll find a smaller apartment. A retirement community, perhaps. Absolutely not, Marcus declared. You're not going to a facility. You're moving in with me and Sarah. You are not asking, I am telling you. We will figure it out together. Something in my chest loosened completely. Okay, I whispered, accepting his love and his sacrifice. If you're sure. I'm sure. Liam stood up, excitement rekindling in his eyes. I can help too. My nonprofit management program, we do community outreach. I can organize a major fundraiser, targeting a completely new donor base. People who never knew Grandpa George, people who just want to help the students. We rebrand the foundation and focus on the future. Marcus looked at his son. A long silent moment passed between them. A bridge rebuilding after 20 months of icy distance. You do that? Marcus asked. This is exactly why I wanted to study this, Dad. To help people who need it. Marcus nodded, a single definitive motion. Okay. We try. All of us. Together. We spent the rest of the day planning. How fast could I finalize the house sale? How quickly could Liam launch the campaign? What legal maneuvers did Marcus need to use to stall the conservatorship hearing and protect my assets until the sale was final? My mind remained miraculously clear through all of it, a final gracious gift from my failing brain. That night after they left, I went through the house one last time. I gathered every single one of the old notes. Don't trust Marcus. He forged docs. He is a liar. All the accusations written in panic. I threw them away. Then I took a fresh pad and began to write new notes, different warnings, different truths. I wrote, trust Marcus. He saved you. I wrote, your son is a hero. Remember that. I wrote, George was broken. Marcus paid the debt. I wrote, your family loves you. They will keep you safe. I hid them in all the same places. The medicine cabinet, the kitchen drawer, behind the desk calendar, in the lampshade tucked into my book. I was hoping that when the fog inevitably came back, when I forgot everything, I'd find these instead. I needed the confused me to trust the clear me. A week later, the words started slipping. I forgot what I'd said 5 minutes ago. The fog was rolling back in. It's coming back, I told Marcus and Liam when they came over the next morning. Marcus held my hand. I know, Mom. It's okay. I won't remember tomorrow. I'll forget George was a gambler. I'll forget that you saved me. I might think you're the villain again. Then we'll show you the notes, Liam said, his voice firm. We'll remind you as many times as it takes. I squeezed Marcus's hand, trying to imprint this moment of absolute clarity and love into my soul. I could feel it fading. 2 weeks later, I was searching the medicine cabinet. I found a yellow sticky note. Do not trust your son, Marcus. Fear shot through me. What had he done? I kept searching. Found another note taped to the mirror's frame. Trust Marcus. He saved you. I stood there holding both notes. Confused. Scared. Which one was real? Which one had I meant? Marcus came into the room, saw me holding them. Mom. I showed him both. I found these. I don't know which one is true. He looked at them. His face softened with a heartbreaking mix of sadness and love. Very gently, he took the old, terrible note from my hand and ripped it in half. Then he handed the new one back to me. This is the real one, Mom. This is what you wanted yourself to remember. I looked at the note. Trust Marcus. He saved you. Then I looked at my son. The exhaustion in his eyes, the patience, the enduring love. And deep inside, something settled. A truth I didn't need memory to hold. Okay, I said quietly. Okay, I trust you. His eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Liam appeared in the doorway. Everything okay? Yeah, Marcus said, pulling himself together. Everything's okay. We went to the kitchen and sat together. My house was already under contract. Liam's major fundraiser was launching next month. Marcus was negotiating with the last creditor. I didn't remember agreeing to any of it, but they told me that we were doing this together to save the Phoenix house. Tell me about the students again, I requested. The ones we're helping. Liam pulled out his phone, showing me pictures. Leo, the quiet student, and 42 other young faces. We're going to save their home, Grandma, he said. Together. We'll make sure your gift gives them the stability George meant to give them. I looked at the faces, at the foundation George had built and then destroyed, at my son who tried to fix it alone, and at my own note still clutched in my hand. Trust Marcus. Okay, I said. Tell me what I need to do. They explained it all again, patient, kind like it was the first time. My brain might be failing. My memories might be disappearing. But right now, in this moment, we were together, a family healing, fighting for something that truly mattered. And even if I forgot, the notes would remain. The new truth would remain. George had broken everything. But we were going to fix it. One day, one clear moment at a time.